Welcome to Sports from the Couch.
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
With your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airwaves.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
Hello and welcome in to this edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. It is a chilly Saturday, November 14, 2020 here in the beautiful city of Chicago, but we have a bunch of hot stories we need to get to. Before we get to that, let's take care of some housekeeping notes. You can follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, share us, leave a comment wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. You can become a producer of the show at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home tour interviews with athletes and celebrities that you can get ad-free and before anybody else. That's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag just in time for the holiday season, friends, at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves. And if you would like to see what we're up to when it comes to the podcast network, from the True Crime Show, the Pop Culture Show, our interviews, the Gone Missing podcast, follow us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves.
José Abreu, congratulations. You have yeah, go ahead and celebrate. Wow, this is big.
And with that, José Abreu is your 2020 MVP. Celebrate, White Sox fans. Celebrate, baseball fans. A good dude has really put that stamping moment in his career. Shout out to José Abreu, who is your American League MVP. 33-year-old, got 21 of 30 first place votes and 374 points in voting announced by the Baseball Writers Association of America. Quick shout out to Jose Ramirez, DJ LeMahieu, who also were in the conversation. But Abreu led the majors with 60 RBIs, 148 total bases, and topped the AL with 76 hits and a .617 slugging percentage. Played in all 60 games during a coronavirus season, and it is something to be really proud of if you're a White Sox fan. This entire organization finding this guy and making him a team leader and letting him be him. And the real thing is, there's a lot of superstars and potential superstars on this White Sox team. There's a lot of people that are going to be selling jerseys for the next few years and are going to make a lot of people very happy during Christmas and birthdays when they receive said jerseys. And I never thought Jose Abreu was going to be one of those dudes. You know, Jose Abreu, to me, for the equivalent of any Cubs fans who are listening to us here in Chicago, is kind of like the Anthony Rizzo, right? The leader, the guy who's going to make the right play offensively, defensively, whatever the case may be. He's going to make the right play. He's going to be the leader you need to be. But there's other guys around there that are going to win MVPs and trophies and accolations and go ahead and get all the money and endorsements. And seeing Jose Abreu kind of become the head guy, the tribal chief of this team is awesome. Of a team of, you know, Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez and Tim Anderson and Yohan Moncada. Like, it's a team full of young, bright stars, and the guy who really just seemed to be the North Star of this team getting named MVP is awesome. And, you know, it also goes to show a lot of people were talking trash about the 60-game season. And a lot of people are saying, doesn't matter. Why does it matter? I mean, you ask Dodger fans. I mean, I know we give LA fans a hard time here on Sports from the Couch, but let's talk about it. Like, you talk to Dodger fans, that World Series means as much as any other World Series will ever, if not more, for everything that it stood for during the pandemic season. And it's the same thing with the MVP. We got lucky that baseball even got to a finish line when there were so many points that we thought doom and gloom was coming, including myself. I was one of the main guys in that horse carrying that carriage and that bandwagon. But it was proven wrong. They figured it out. And even though they tripped over themselves with Muncie at the very end of it, it still got to a point where we crowned the champion. And it meant something. And then to be able to acknowledge a player like José Abreu is amazing for baseball. It's great for baseball that a guy from the White Sox won an MVP and a guy from the Braves and Freddie Freeman won the MVP. This is good. It's not a Dodger. It's not a Yankee. It's not a Cub. It's not a Red Sox. It's not one of these guys that typically goes to, it's a fan base that has earned it. It's not only players. Obviously, he has earned it. That team helped them win it. That amazing run that they win. You're talking about almost 20 games. If this was a regular season, a plus 20 win margin that they had. He earned it. But so did the people around it that supported this team. And with all that positivity and everything that's going to come with for José Abreu and what's going to probably be more MVPs on players for this White Sox organization over the next few years, it just highlights the simple fact of what happened with that Tony La Russa hire. I mean, we know the story of the DUI earlier on in this year, and we know the potential of your manager now being put to jail for a day or two for DUI. And, you know, maybe the thing isn't that it shouldn't overshadow José Abreu. But what it goes to is José Abreu is a microcosm of this White Sox team. You know, he doesn't have the most flair. He's not the most boisterous. He's not the most flamboyant of the team, but a lot of guys are. And they lean on this guy. And I don't see if you just look at the culture of what this man is, what he's been through, and then you're bringing in somebody who talks about they're gonna judge the sincerity of what people feel like. When José Abreu was breaking down in that clip just now from MLB Network as he was being announced the American League MVP, the story he has from coming from Cuba and his story and everything that is encompassed that man, you bring in a manager after all of that, after all the goodwill, after what's obviously worked out because we've seen the results, not only on the field, but with your players as well. Not just with the record, but the accolades that they're getting. And you bring in Tony La Russa for what? To squash an old beef? To make a right something from 20, 30 years ago? And he's going to decide what is sincere from a player and what they believe in and how they're doing it and why they're doing it? It's a shame that after all that, that's where we're at with them. But I just wanted to mention that because it is a great day for White Sox fans, for that White Sox organization, and most importantly, José Abreu. A new face to Major League Baseball. It's not just Bryce Harper. It's just not Mike Trout. It's not the same old guys. This is a great thing for baseball, and I hope that White Sox fans in this great city, when they get the chance to go to the South Side and watch this team, they do it, and to support these guys. Because while we may not like that manager hire, that team deserves everybody's, not only their respect, but they deserve to have the support of the fan base, because what we've seen from this hire, they're not going to get it support from the top tier part of this organization. So shout out to José Abreu, your 2020 American League MVP.
For me, if our team can be better because of this move, and I don't know that, but if we can, then darn it, that's what we need to do. And that's what I need to do. And that's my job as a head coach. And there's a lot of great head coaches out there in this league that don't call plays as well and have done it a long time that I have a lot of respect for. So that's just a part of this job that I signed up for. And I have to make these decisions. And it just really makes it a lot easier when you have people that you believe in. And at the same point in time, for me, I do feel like right now, this is the time.
That was Bears head coach Matt Nagy on giving up offensive play calls to Bill Lazor, and we will find out how that plays out on Monday Night Football as the Bears take on the Vikings. But, you know, here's the thing, right? I could see it both ways. So if you're Matt Nagy, I understand why you were not in a hurry to give up play calling. I mean, it was kind of your forte. It's why they brought you in. It was the hype behind your name when you got hired from Kansas City under Andy Reid. I get it. On the other hand, you want your head guy to be hands-on or at the very least overseeing everything that the team is doing. And when you have plays where, you go for 4th and 1 on a fake punt and you get it, and then the very next play you need to take a timeout because you weren't ready with the call and you're running down the game clock and the play clock, like obviously there's problems. Now, I don't know if changing the play caller changes the play of the offensive line or your skills player. Does it make David Montgomery be able to hit a hole and break a big run? Can Nick Foles make a good pass down the field? Can Allen Robinson, do any more than he's already done? Like he anything short of him becoming Superman, the man can't do anything else. Are you going to target Cole Kmet more? Are we going to still have specialty plays for Cordell Patterson? Like, it's not this simple fix that all of a sudden you're handing off play calling and now your team's going to average 35 points. Now, that may be the case because, of course, I'm saying it on here. And, of course, the universe loves to prove us radio pundits, sports pundits wrong. But come on, like, there's no way that you're going to sit here and really honestly believe that now this team that you've been watching for 9 weeks is going to all of a sudden become an offensive juggernaut. Nick Foles is always going to be a streaky quarterback in the National Football League. That is it. Streaky enough to win you a Super Bowl, streaky enough to only put up 3 points. It is what it is. But more than anything, what this move does for me is it shows that they're trying anything, that they're desperate. But what happens? What happens if now all of a sudden, Monday Night Football, you lose to the Vikings, who you thought were in the basement, and they now have 4 wins? And you're now 5-5. What do you do then? What is the feeling of the city now? You don't have Mitch Trubisky to go back to. You already knew they weren't going to go back to him because that experiment is over. Are you going to give Ryan Pace another opportunity to draft a quarterback? What is the chopping block number for Matt Nagy? I keep saying I don't want to see this organization become the Cleveland Browns or Jacksonville Jaguars, where you're just firing and hiring people every 2.5 years. But is a 7-9 record enough to get rid of somebody? I'm not advocating for somebody to lose their job. These are the questions I'm asking because they've put themselves in this position. Matt Nagy from scheming and not knowing how to call plays for the team he was given, and Ryan Pace for putting this bad team together, at least offensively. You got to like Roquan Smith, Robert Quinn when he plays, Khalil Mack. Like, there's obviously Akeem Nicks. Like, there's obviously pieces they put together in that secondary. Like, you can't take away what their defense has done or is, but they've put that bad offense together. And Ryan Pace saw that offensive line this offseason and said, nah, that's good enough for me. So we'll see how it plays out. I am not very excited about Monday Night Football. I think the Bears do win. But they win by making Kirk Cousins beat them. They did do a good job against Derrick Henry. Got to give them that. But we did see what Alvin Kamara could do against them. So my thing is, they are going, at least in my opinion, and if I'm scheming, right, you stack the box and you say Kirk Cousins, you find Adam Thielen. You find Jackson, Jefferson, you find a way to beat us with your arm and your wide receivers. And then you hope for the best. And then you put it on Nick Foles and you hope that David Montgomery is able to play if he doesn't have this concussion. But it's going to be interesting. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Matt Nagy giving off offensive play calls to Bill Lazor. Does it help the Bears? Are you more confident? Does it really even matter with the team that they have? Does the scheme even matter when the talent can't run the plays? Let me know. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Before we head out, there's also some pretty interesting and cool news stories I want to get into. And the first one is Kim Ng is the new general manager of the Marlins. which makes her the first woman and first Asian American woman to be a general manager of a team. And shout out to her. Awesome use. And if you have any doubts about how badass this woman is in the world of baseball, she's been in the game for 3 decades, has 3 World Series champions with the New York Yankees and now with the LA Dodgers front offices. So shout out to the Marlins. And this is the one thing, like, I know a lot of people are going to complain and say SJW and being woke and whatnot, but it just goes back to qualifications, man. Like, what does the resume say, and how do you impact and make a difference? And maybe, just maybe, having a little bit of progressive thinking, forward thinking, mindful thinking, to maybe get your organization and your business into different heights, different levels of success. I'm not saying it's going to work, but it's different. It's the same thing here locally in Chicago. It's like there's only so many times, and I'm not going to go to the White Sox, but in the same family, there's only so many times you can keep going to Gar Forman and John Paxson and people in your family. Eventually, you have to bring in new, fresh eyes with different ideas and a little bit of youth and different relationships among the league that your guys don't have anymore. So I think that's a wonderful thing for the Marlins, who actually have a very progressive front office. You know, there's 2 executive women who work for the Marlins, and obviously Derek Jeter, kind of the head honcho of the place. They have a nice team. Obviously here in Chicago, we saw what they did to the Cubs. So I'm really enjoying this move. Now, going back a little bit to people saying the SJW and all this, you know, if this was a Disney movie and all of a sudden they picked a high school girl, and for that matter, a high school boy, to be the general manager of a team, we would think it's an instant classic like Sandlot and Rookie of the Year and Little Big League and all these other ones, right? And then we would, some of us, you know, not me, but like if you could listen to the Pop Culture Show, we hear it from certain segments of community, especially in film, that, well, they're just shoving this down our throat. This is not that case. This is somebody who's earned it, a badass who has earned it. And I think it's going to help this organization, and it's just going to change momentum just to get out of your comfort box a little bit. And like that zone that's going to kill people. Complacency kills organizations and businesses. So I'm excited. And I think it's good vibes over for the Marlins with Kim Ng as their new general manager. And of course, we have the Masters this weekend. And that is some interesting stuff, right? The Masters in November, right before Thanksgiving, about a week and a half before Thanksgiving. And there's a lot of talk about Tiger. There's a lot of talk about Johnson and Thomas. And it's going to be fun to see how this course plays this late into the year. And especially for the guys who've never played on this course. Who will be the favorite? Who will be able to adjust? Who will have the better rounds when it comes to this field, this course in Augusta, this late into the season? You know, it's one thing in April. It's another thing in November. Georgia, you know, I'm not too familiar with how their seasons go, but I can only imagine that even though the grass in itself, just the difference of temperature and the grow rate and whatnot, it's definitely going to change that course. So I want to see what the scores are going to be. I want to see who makes their putts. I want to see whose drive game is the best at this point. It's been so long since I think we've had a tournament like this year that it's almost like, oh, okay, look at what's back in our television. I want to see what the ratings look like. But it's going to be fun to see who ends up being the Masters champion this year. Of course, you can watch it on ESPN and CBS. But that'll do it for us, guys, on this edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. You can follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, share us, leave a comment wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. You can become a producer of the show at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home store interviews with athletes and celebrities that you can get ad-free and before anybody else. That's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag just in time for the holiday season, friends, at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves. And if you would like to see what we're up to when it comes to the podcast network, from the True Crime Show, the Pop Culture Show, our interviews, the Gone Missing podcast, Follow us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Please enjoy all the games. Enjoy your weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Please wear a mask. We'll get through this together, this second wave. You've been listening to Sports from the Couch here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.